And now I want to, as I said, we have to wow you before lunch and introduce you to Andy Carluccio, who's with Zoom, Head of Client Innovation, and Alon Rogenstein, who's with BC Live Productions, and they're going to take you into how they executed an incredible audience engagement, large-scale event, and did it with incredible style. So guys, take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Robin. Great to see everybody. Hey, this has been an amazing show. What a great morning we've had so far. And I appreciate Alon being here to brave the session before lunch. I can see some of you foaming at the mouth already. Maybe get that checked. But really, really excited to take the time to have this conversation.
Absolutely, happy to be here.
Yeah, so as introduced, I'm Andy Carluccio. I lead the client innovation team at Zoom. So we oversee all of our broadcast operations, live streaming, event management from within engineering. Alon, do you want to share a little bit about BC Live and what you guys are doing in your role there?
Absolutely. My name is Alon Rogenstein. I've been a technical producer at BC Live Productions for about 4 years. My foray into virtual production actually started in the pandemic. I was at Live Nation Entertainment. I was their IT business partner. And when the need to create virtual product came up, I had to quickly transition our legacy concert meet and greet products into a whole new world. It was a little bit daunting considering the timeline that we were trying to meet. And after meeting with a lot of different vendors, it was BC Live that became my top choice to help us create these virtual products, starting with small meet and greets, transitioning large conferences like Ticketmaster's B2B Summit into the virtual space, and then concerts in general. And since then, I kind of caught the bug in live virtual production. I've been doing that with them ever since.
Awesome. So I want to set the stage a little bit for our story from this summer. And I want to talk first about the enduring value of virtual participation in events. And there's been a lot of discussion both here at the conference and I think throughout the past couple of years about, okay, during this pivot from mostly in-person production to fully online production during the pandemic to now this post-pandemic era, what is the enduring value of virtual? So what does that conversation look like for you and your clients as you're looking at what they're going to do to integrate these hybrid experiences?
Well, live is the name of the game. Everyone wants to do everything live, and trying to keep people engaged and connected from wherever they might be consuming this content around the world is a challenge. There's no real benefit to a live stream unless, in my opinion, unless there's that engagement from those individuals that are not in the room with you. So it's constantly a part of our conversations, trying to make sure that people feel heard, to make sure that talent or individuals that are in speaking roles and presenting in these conferences are able to get their message heard, but also hear back in real time and engage and react to how people are thinking and feeling about what they're talking about.
I think that engagement piece is so critical because on the vendor side, we're spending a lot of time thinking about how do we highlight that interactivity at scale? How do we bring interaction to our global audiences? Because when they're engaged, it actually it improves all of the metrics, both for retention, for attending future events. These things really do matter, and it creates an investment from that audience in the success of the event, so everyone's on the same team. So with that context then, tell me a little bit about this experience working with the DNC. How did that get started? What was kind of the setup for you guys, and kind of help paint the picture a little bit?
Absolutely. So the DNC 4-day event that occurred at the end of August 18th, I believe, was the first day. I believe the month prior was the first time that I got an email in my inbox letting us know that they wanted BC Live to have the privilege of managing all of the remote transmission for the event in and out of the United Center in Chicago. We were excited to get the phone call and immediately wanted to hit the ground running. Load-in was going to be the following week, and we had not fully understood what we were going to be doing. We knew that there were going to be small remote teams across 15 states. There was going to be a combination of rallies, watch parties, civil servants that wanted to take part in the magic, so to say. But getting down to the details as far as who and where and what are they going to be utilizing was a little bit more challenging. So essentially, we prepared for many different possibilities. I think that we rolled up with the capability of bringing in maybe 16 channels of Zoom, 8 live view decodes, 4 video returns, 4 encodes, 8 channels of high vision Makito SRT, maybe another 8 channels of vMix call, just to be prepared for whatever the individual production teams across the states or individuals in their homes or organizing local watch parties would be able to facilitate.
That's really interesting, and I think that what I hear from you is that you're coming in kind of with this blank canvas, right? And that there's going to be this hybrid mesh that's needed in order to make the event happen. I know for a lot of producers that sets off alarm bells right away. It's like, okay, the hybrid, the online component, that's a liability. But so what were the steps that you guys took as you got deeper into the event that helped you turn that liability into an opportunity for the production?
So as soon as we finished load-in, we started to get more creative conversations going. As soon as those individuals were on site, the energy was so high. I've never been part of a production where people were so excited to be there in the space to try and put on what everyone wanted to be the best show of their entire lives. So energy was extremely high. Everyone was excited to be there. There were smiles everywhere you looked. And it translated throughout all communications, even on the technical side. So as soon as we started stepping through rehearsals, there were little pockets where a question was raised. Glenn Weiss was the live director. He's excellent. And he kind of put it out to the team when there was an opportunity to kind of decide where we were going to go. Once there was a kind of creative idea floated around, we looked at what we would be able to execute based on what we had at hand and just the resources. So depending on what the need was, we looked at what we could do and we made some suggestions. And if we were able to follow through with something surprising, great.
So let's walk into that more. So at the DNC, there's the large LED wall experience, all right? And my understanding is that there were a lot of iterations to that experience in terms of deciding what was going to make sense. And we got the phone call, partway into that week of the event, and my colleague Eyal Hadida and I were looking at, okay, how can we help amplify the Zoom interaction component? We work a lot with our developer tools, building kind of customized integrations. And so tell me a little bit more about when that vision came into clarity. What was it that you needed to do, and what was the tech stack to accomplish that?
All right, so we had the realization that we had a lot of people that were really excited across the United States. And we wanted to try and find a way to harness that energy, to display that in the United Center for everyone to be able to feel connected in certain moments of the production. It was one idea that was floated around, and I believe that was the first time that we called you, was we wanted to include hundreds of people from across the country in some sort of beautiful collage that could utilize the real estate that we had on that big wall. Even though we didn't know exactly who those individuals were going to be, we didn't know if we were going to have any time to tech or test with any individual. The idea was great, and having utilized Zoom for so many productions in the past and it being a seamless experience, and getting your amazing emails about beta versions of new products that you are set to release. I believe it was Dan Howes, our VP of Digital Strategy, that's just like, we should give Andy a call. And that's when we came to you with this idea of how are we going to position hundreds of people in a beautiful way, regardless of whether people were going to accidentally be disconnected, disregarding their bandwidth. Like, what are we going to be able to do to showcase this beautifully?
And that flexibility is really key to us, because as we think about production, my team is matrixed inside of engineering, so we come at it from a tool builder perspective when we think about these collaborations, and that's why we've worked so hard to allow folks like yourself, Alon, to be able to craft the look and feel without inheriting the aesthetic of the teleconferencing platform. I think we've all screen scraped a Zoom call at some point, put the grid up on screen, everybody waves, yeah, yippee, but that's really, you can do so much more. And that's why we've made this investment in the customization and the control, integrating it with your NDI workflows, integrating it with your Blackmagic SDI runs, being able to control it from moderation and centralized management. And that kind of helped shape the production there. So now we're into the show, and you have the moment that you put together and you threw it up on screen. Tell me about the iterative process while the plane is flying. What is that like for you?
So there were even more changes after that. It was decided from higher up that the collage of hundreds of people was not going to have the impact that we wanted it to, but we wanted to focus more centrally on watch parties in individual states. But you're right, aside from the functionality of displaying these different feeds, it had to look beautiful, it had to look flawless, and we had to have redundancy and plans for any sort of disconnects that might occur. So as we were going along with the show, a moment presented itself. I believe that it was a segment that Eva Longoria was hosting, and they wanted to put all the watch parties up on this big wall together. After working closely with your team on the one dark day that we had to go get a bunch of gear and tech test thoroughly, we also had a small window in production at around 9 a.m. that day to display the work that we had created together for our director. It got a green flag. He decided to buy it. And when the moment arose in the actual show to display it, it was one of the most exciting moments that I feel I've had in the last year.
Cool. So why don't we share that experience? Can we roll the video?
We're gonna say, she said puede. Our voices, our vote, we're gonna decide the selection. And let me tell you, the energy tonight isn't just here in Chicago, it's all across the country. People are gathered at watch parties everywhere to celebrate Kamala Harris. Say hello. Yes. All right. We know how to work, so let's get to work. Let's turn all of this enthusiasm and joy into action between now and November 5th. Let's go. She said puede. She said puede.
This was such a success that they decided to bring it back.
This is a runtime decision.
This was a runtime decision. The watch parties were all still engaged. We had all the feeds up, and the director said that this is the power that he wanted to end the show with.
Awesome. So we can cut ahead to the slides from this point. So again, amazing work, and to be able to integrate the live component and show the watch parties from all over the country and do that in a flexible way with the requirements being determined on the fly. Really, really excited to have that collaboration.
Absolutely, and I feel like it really highlighted the essence of live production. We had planned so many different ways to get feeds in and out. We had planned almost every possible situation, and in the end, we used something that we had not planned for. We used a product that we had not utilized in this way before. We were able to work with a team to test something that we had not done and pull off something beautiful together. So thank you for all the work that you and your team do.
Thank you, Alon. Thank you all.